as we all know, the winter is here and is going to be here for a while. So we have to take care and be prepared with a lot of things, including our pets, especially the ones that go outside from here and there. So there's a few things we need to keep in mind, which is why we are going to give you some tips on best taking care of your pets during the winter. And to join us right here live on The Splash to give out those tips, we have the owner of Premier Pet Supply in West Bloomfield, Jeff Nagarah. Thank you for being here, Jeff.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about it. First and foremost, our extended family members, our pets, our loved ones. We love them. We want to make sure they're properly taken care of. From everything that you know, what are some of the most important steps that pet owners here in West Bloomfield should take to best prepare our pets for the winter?
Well, first and foremost, just like us, we want to keep them inside and keep them warm. You know, with the weather getting cold and with it getting windy, you know, just like the wind chill affects us, it affects the pets the same way. We want to be prepared and keep them inside for the most part when it does get to those extreme colds. Now, if it's in the 30s and 40s, by all means, let's take them out and have some fun. But when it's super cold, you know, limit the potty time to a few minutes to get them in and out, because just like us, they're going outside with no clothes on. You don't want to be naked outside. It's not fun.
Definitely not fun. I wasn't expecting that angle, but that's a good one. Yes, you go out there, take care of your business. Bring our pets back in as soon as possible. Are there any common hazards that pets face during the winter months that owners can actually mitigate some of these risks?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times when you're taking your dog out for a walk, the municipalities and landlords will put out rock salt, which is great for us. It gets rid of the ice. But it's not safe for their pads and paws. So what you want to do is either put some kind of waxy ointment on the bottom of their pads, like Mushroom Secret that we carry, or a paw soother or a paw protection, or booties, and that'll help keep their pads safe. Because a lot of times when you're looking at their pads, the ice balls will get kind of in between their finger, or in between their toes, I should say, and that's where it can really hurt them. Ugh. And that's what you want to protect.
Oh, my goodness. And I never even thought about that. Those huge chunks of salt that they put out there, I can just imagine. And if we go back to thinking like us, if you go out there and just step on those with your bare feet, it would hurt so much. I don't care if it's the summertime, it would hurt. So that's another great thing. I'm glad you brought that up. But let's continuously piggyback on that, right? You mentioned some products and supplies that owners can get for that. Are there any other recommended tips or products for protecting our pet claws, paws from the salt, the ice, and in the weather in general during the winter?
Yeah, we carry the whole gambit. You know, we have Pet Safe Ice Melter. Paw Thaw is one of the brands that you put down. So if they go to step on it, it's not going to hurt their feet. And like I mentioned, there's booties, there's ointment you can put on. We also have sweaters, we have jackets, and sometimes we have goggles, depending if you're going to go skiing or snowboarding, or the dogs still want to put their face outside when it's cold when you're driving. So there are a lot of different things that we have that'll help protect your pets in this cold weather.
Yes, yeah, and I love some of the things that you named. This is probably one of the only times I can legitimately say booties on here, and we're referring to pet supplies. That helps them during the winter, so don't come at them, FCC. But thank you for providing that information, and once again, joining us right here live on The Splash, owner of Premier Pet Supply in West Bloomfield, Jeff Nagarah, talking about how we can keep our pets safe and actually enjoy the winter. Now that I think about it, let's talk about that now, Jeff. Is there any way that our pet owners can safely and actively keep our pets engaged during these colder months while minimizing exposure to the cold?
Yeah, so, in the summertime, we're not really worried about them, getting too cold. And there might be, a little bit of heat that you have to watch out for. But in the wintertime, they get cold a lot quicker. So if you're going for that typical 2-mile walk, maybe limit it to half a mile. If you're going to be playing outside, play on the snow and not the cement. You can still play fetch, you can still play Frisbee. You just don't want to do it for an extended period of time. And if you do, make sure they have the proper, attire, whether it's a jacket or a sweater, like I said, or definitely make sure their pads are covered on their paws so they're not getting too cold or getting frostbite or any of those ice balls that are built up and hurting them when they walk.
You know what, Jeff? You know what I just thought of? So outside, it's extremely cold, right? We all know that. Inside, to kind of combat that, we turn the heat up. We have space heaters, fireplace, things of that nature to make sure that we are warm. But sometimes our pets could possibly be overheated or things of that nature, and kind of going in between that heat in that ice cold. How can we kind of gauge whether or not our heat could be too hot indoors for our pets as well?
So, room temperature is the best way to put it. I typically keep it, 70 or 72, depending on how cold it is outside. And it's going to affect our pets the same way. If you don't have the heat on to keep it warm enough in the house, they're going to shiver. So, you can put a blanket on them when they're sleeping, or if they're hanging out on the couch with you. You can have different activities you can do inside the house to keep them active and keep their their blood flowing. I like recommending snuffle mats because that'll keep them occupied, especially if you can't get outside with it being extremely cold. Those are great options that'll keep them working and keep their brain moving and just keep them active in a time when there's not too much activity going on.
Thank you. Thank you for also saying that also, because I just thought about that as we were talking so much about the outside. I'm like, yeah, inside we make it warm for ourselves, but depending on the breed of the dog, it could be too hot for them. So I appreciate you for putting that in perspective also. With us right here live on the Splash, Premier Pet Supply owner, Jeff Nagarah, talking about some tips and reminders to make sure our pets are accommodated during this winter time also. Are there any additional tips, resources, products that we did not discuss in regards to keeping our pets safe and comfy during the winter before we let you go, Jeff?
There are heated beds out there that we have in the stores. There are just beds in general. The biggest thing is if you want to keep your animal, or your pet, I should say, your family member, a little warmer or a little cooler, you can get something that's, up off the ground. So instead of having a flat mat, have a bed that has sides on it where they can snuggle up and snuggle in. And like I said, blankets are the best way to add that additional warmth, just like we have when we go to sleep at night.
Perfect. Make sure our babies are taken care of, nice and secure, just like we all want to be. And I appreciate that perspective also. Thank you again for your information. And owner of the Premier Pet Supply in West Bloomfield, Jeff Nagarah, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.